So the first one we look at is ChatGPT. This was I suppose, the pioneer. This was the one that was released and kind of got the public's attention. It got something like 100 million users within a couple of months. It was really, it took the internet a couple of years to get that many users. So ChatGPT was quite revolutionary, and it kind of transformed the public's ability to access these generative AI tools. So, like I said, it was OpenAI. They're the company that's behind ChatGPT. So the good thing about this model is it's versatile. It can handle diverse tasks from writing to coding. You can create what's known as custom GPTs, or these are your specialized chatbots for specific tasks. It's your own personal chatbots. There's you can extend functionality with third-party tools. That's things like DALL-E integration, so you can generate images, things like that. There's advanced data analysis as well, so you can upload your files for data analysis. And then it can access current information when you're browsing the web. And again, a lot of these features, they will be in the Pro version. So the best use case really for ChatGPT is general purpose content creation, coding assistance and debugging, creative writing and brainstorming, things like that. And it's good to use it, for explanations as well. So kind of using it as a personal tutor. The free version is GPT-4 at the moment, so again, this is March 2026. But if you upgrade, they have the GPT-5 version out now. So moving on to the next one is by Anthropic, and this is the Claude model. Some people call this a document specialist. It's known for high quality writing. So it has a fairly massive context window, 1 million tokens, which is about 750,000 words. It's good for document analysis, so you can upload and analyze PDFs and Word documents. You can create editable code and content, so it's very good for creating artifacts for you. And like I say, if you get the paid version, you can execute the code. It has strong writing skills, and it's privacy focused, so your conversations aren't used for training. Again, usually, the free versions don't have this, so it'll have to be for the paid version to get the most privacy. It can analyze images and charts, so it can look at, if you give it a document, it can analyze your text, but also analyze any figures or anything that's in that document. So quite versatile product as well. It's best for analyzing long documents, so like research papers or reports. If you need any high quality writing and editing, so we see this tool being used quite a bit within academic research and stuff like that, but also within the legal profession, where they're going through a lot of documents, long documents, and they need high quality writing or editing. So also good for writing technical documentation for your code. So Claude stands out for its privacy commitments, so your conversations aren't used to train the models, typically, even within the free version, but you just need to double check because this is changing all the time. But as recording now, you can go into privacy mode where they don't save your chats and they don't use any of your data for training the models. So Google's Gemini, it has for probably a good while now had the largest context window, and so for obvious reasons, there's a lot of the time where this would have been, was unprecedented at the time, because the other models would have had around 128,000 tokens. So to have 2 million, that was a massive leap forward. But now the rest of them are all catching up, of course. The good thing about Gemini is it integrates across all of Google's services, so Gmail, your Google Drive, Google Maps, the whole lot. It's multimodal, so it can process text, images, audio, and video. You can connect it to Google Search, and you can ground it so you can give it real-time information, where a lot of the other models are cut off. They don't have up-to-date information. If you have Google Workspace, then you get a lot of privacy. Your data is protected. It's not used to train the model, things like that. So Gemini integrates with that very well. And as I say, it has multiple modalities, so it can handle diverse content types. So it's pretty versatile tool. And the best use cases are probably for research or anything where you need a vast context. So the 2 million tokens you're talking, that's probably about 1.5 million words, something like that. So you can get a lot of documents in there. So if you're doing some kind of large kind of research project, then this might be the tool for the job. Real-time information, if you need that, then Google, this is probably a good one. But like I said, all of the rest of them, as one of these companies brings out a feature like that, like the real-time information, then the other companies aren't far behind before they release it as well. So yeah, a lot of these advantages are kind of, they get wiped out very quickly because of the advancements of these models. But yeah, with Gemini's context window, we can fit entire books in, and it can understand the context or the conversation for a long time. So this is one of the biggest advantages of this model. So Microsoft Copilot, this is really ChatGPT under the hood, but it has the guardrails that Microsoft have around it. So there are things, like I said before, for example, the context window isn't as wide as the normal ChatGPT model. But the good thing is that this Copilot integrates across all of Microsoft's products. So it works in Word, it works in Excel, it works in PowerPoint, works right across the board. It's even in the new operating system, Windows 11. So Copilot's absolutely everywhere. It's in the Edge browser so it can be used, while you're browsing. You can give it access to your web page and give it the context of that, so you can get it to summarize web pages and things like that. Yeah, it's in Windows 11, so it's fully integrated into Windows. The enterprise features essentially will ensure that your data is secure and private, and that there is no leakage of your enterprise data at all. It has DALL-E integration, so that gives the ability to generate images, and you can create presentations and graphics, because of this as well. So it has a lot of, it's a lot of the Microsoft products that are already widely used. It just makes, those products that bit more productive. So organizations using Microsoft 365, it would be good to start playing around with this model, so you don't have to go outside your ecosystem. You can do document creation in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, email management and Outlook, and different things like that. And then whenever you start to use things like Power Automate, you can start to have proper enterprise workflows and loads of team collaboration, stuff like that. So Copilot is free just in the Edge browser, but if you have Microsoft 365, that's normally an enterprise license, so you'll get the full enterprise features. Okay, so obviously the big players are not the only ones in the market. There are loads of these specialized generative AI tools, and again, these are good for the specific purposes or for specific tasks. So the first one is Perplexity. This is a good research assistant essentially, and it's good for getting sourced answers with citations. So there is a free version. Again, you don't want to be sharing any of your data with the free version of any of these tools. Grammarly is good for enhancing your writing, so looking at the grammar within your writing. So it's good for professional writing and editing. Notion AI is a note-taking tool, and it's best for managing projects, and keeping notes on things. Then we have GitHub Copilot. It's best really for software development, or it's really good with software documentation writing. So it's also it can give you essentially it's like a junior programmer having that on your team. Then we have ones like Jasper that are good for marketing teams for creating different marketing campaigns, and Midjourney where we can create images and videos as well. So we can have this is good for, again, maybe for branding and things like that. So just looking at the image generation tools, there are a lot of them in the market, but the main kind of ones that are the most popular, I would say, are DALL-E 3, Midjourney, and Stable Diffusion is, you can get that for free, so you can. So it's quite good, but as you can see, it's not very easy to use. It's highly customizable, so that's why it's a bit more complex to use. And then we have other ones like Adobe Firefly that's included with Adobe. So most of them, like DALL-E 3 will be going for just ease of use, and DALL-E 3 is included with ChatGPT Pro, and also if you have the Microsoft Copilot. So a kind of a pro tip is to start with DALL-E, via ChatGPT or Ideogram. They're the easiest to use and produce consistent results. And also you need to check for licenses, to make sure that anything that you do create is, that it is yours to own. So Adobe Firefly at the current moment, as of March 2026, offers the safest commercial licensing.